Hello and welcome to another episode of The Average EV. Today I am taking a road trip to Nashville with my brother. He's on his way home to Colorado, so we're going to Nashville and then I'll head on back. Let's get into it. So my brother is in town. Unfortunately, our uncle passed away, so that's what brought him here. But he did drive out from Colorado in his Tesla Model 3. And so on his return trip, I said, hey, I'll drive out halfway with you. Also gave me a chance to get a little bit more experience with the Equinox EV. So we went ahead and did that. As you can tell, or maybe you can't tell, I'm in the future right now, so I'm already back at home. I just forgot to record the intro. But we have a great time, great trip. Really, nothing really goes wrong, and it's a pretty good experience. Some things with efficiency because of the mountains and the temperature and the wind and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a really good watch. Hope you all enjoy this, and I will catch you all at the end of the video. Okay, so I'm in the car ready to go. My brother is in his Tesla Model 3 long range dual motor. It's the one with the LG pack, so they're not as good charging pack if you're wondering. It's the Refresh, the Highland. Anyways, we're about to head off here. I'm gonna turn the camera on, give you a couple impressions here, let you know a few things, and then we're gonna get on our way to our first charging stop, which will hopefully be in Lexington, Virginia. All right, everyone, so here is my driver's display. So a few things real quick. When you precondition the car, it turns the car on, which I think is dumb, actually. I don't love that. But here you can see the car's been on for 29 minutes almost. The efficiency doesn't matter. You can see it says 7 kilowatts of power going to the battery. So I'm getting about 2-ish kilowatts going to all the heating stuff. It's 27 degrees outside. So negative like 2 or so, and the battery's at about 8 degrees Celsius, which is about 44 degrees Fahrenheit. So I don't know if the car naturally keeps the battery that warm or if the preconditioning did it for me. Not 100% positive, but the car will warm up, and it is going to precondition when we get to our first charging stop, which will be a Tesla supercharger. All right, everybody, so here I have kind of how we're gonna arrive. It's gonna be 3.5 hours of driving. We're actually gonna stop somewhere to get some caffeine and then get on our way. But it says we'll arrive with 5% state of charge. We'll see if that happens. In my experience, it usually goes up, but if it starts to go down, we'll just stop earlier and charge. It's not really that big of a deal. Just so everybody's familiar, I'll have trip 1 and 2 reset by the time I leave, and then current trip will reset every single time we turn the car on and off, which is kind of annoying. But as I remember, I'll try and show this too, which is the energy usage, and it just shows how much energy is being used, obviously. But I'll probably forget that a bunch of times, but I will remember to show the trip information. And yeah, so I think that's enough. I'm gonna unplug now. We're at 95% state of charge. We're gonna leave. It's saying it's gonna take 90% of the battery to go about 200 or so miles. Let's get on the road. All right, everyone, quick update. We just went and got some caffeine from the 7-Eleven, and we have decided we are gonna go to Raffine, which is just before Lexington, which is fine. But my brother was worried he wasn't gonna make it. So we're gonna aim for that. If we feel as though we need to stop earlier, we will. But like I said, generally with this car, I've seen it just gain state of charge compared to what the initial state of charge is supposed to be. So I think we'll be fine. But again, this is cold weather. I've never driven this car in the cold weather. It is pulling a little bit more power. So it'll be cool, and I'll kind of let you all know how this car does in the cold 28 degrees right now. Let's go get on the road to Raffine, Virginia. All right, everyone, I kind of want to give this impression about Regen when it's cold outside and at high state of charge. So I'm not sure if you know this, but first off, if your car's at a high state of charge, it can't take as much Regen, obviously, because there's less room in the battery pack to receive energy. So it limits the Regen. Now, different cars have different strategies with dealing with the Regen when the battery is at a high state of charge. And in my observation here with the Equinox EV is it does reduce the amount of energy going to the battery pack. However, or power, I guess technically. and then being stored as energy. But however, it doesn't change the feel of the regenerative braking, which I love, because especially for people who are new into EVs, like they need to have the same consistent driving experience. And if all of a sudden you have no regen because your battery's very full, or like I was gonna get to, it's cold outside, that could kind of be surprising to people, and they might not be prepared to make the same driving decisions they would if, you know, it was completely normal conditions and they weren't at a high state of charge. So right now, look, one pedal drove to a complete stop, and that's what I was talking about. So yeah, that's really good. I like that strategy, especially for being a vehicle that is definitely tailored to the masses. So I guess what must happen is it uses a little bit of the regen that it is using, and then it probably peppers in the friction brakes to complete the rest of the stop. So that's really nice and good on Chevy for that. I do want to build here. Let me turn this light on for you all. That helps a little bit. I do want to build on that a little bit with when it's in the cold. When it's cold outside, the battery is less willing and more reluctant to accept energy when it's really cold. So it's kind of the same concept as when it's at a high state of charge. So basically it's going to limit the regen. I've been paying a little bit of attention on like particularly cold mornings in the Equinox, and it does limit the regen. It kind of just depends on how cold it is. Right now, again, because it's at a high state of charge, it's hard for me to tell which is which, but I was like seeing like 22 kilowatts, and that's the lowest I've ever seen, but also I'm at a high state of charge, but definitely limited regen when it's cold outside. And I would assume it would do the same strategy where it would pepper in the friction brakes so that you get the same braking experience that you would any other time, which is awesome. So we're gonna go ahead, get back on the road. I just wanted to share some of these cold weather impressions before I forgot them, because you know it's gonna be about 10 hours of driving, 2 or 3 hours of charging today, and I want to get that in there. So let's get back on the road. All right, everybody. So we used 45.6 kilowatt hours, 50.9, 5.3 was fast charge prep. Let's go to the tripometer here. Trip. There we go. 116.2. Oof. It was cold. It was, we had headwind, like 6-7 mile hour headwind. So it is what it is. This is just because we stopped at the 7-Eleven, so it's a little bit of discrepancy there. And we have 37% state of charge. So last time I left off, we thought we were going to Raffine. Well, we ended up stopping in Woodstock because my brother wasn't going to make it, and then I wasn't going to make it. It said like, it said 0 when I called him, and then it went to -2, and then when we switched to Woodstock, it dropped 3% more, so it was a -5, so we weren't making up any time. So anyways, we changed our mind, stopped in Woodstock, so we're gonna figure out the next charger and then get on our way. Let's go plug in first. All right, plugged in at 39, getting 139 kilowatts. Usually this is at 124 kilowatts in the charge curve, so interesting. It looks like it's starting to walk down to what I would expect, but I'm gonna go in, use the restroom, and then kind of catch up with you all. All right, everybody, there's my brother's Tesla Model 3 Highland long range LG battery, if you're wondering. And here I am parked over here on the end. That way I don't block anything, so all is good, although I am kind of sticking out a little bit, but people have plenty of room to get around me, which is fine. You can hear the supercharger working. But yeah, we definitely had to stop early, which was a little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. And I did want to talk about one more thing that was kind of interesting. So on the Tesla app, it said there's actually another site we wanted to go to in Harrisonburg, Virginia. But on the Tesla app, it says it's currently not available. It's temporarily closed. But the Google navigation inside the Equinox wanted to navigate me there. So that's not good. So if somebody arrived there at a low state of charge, they would be sorry out of luck. Although I think there's an Electrify America that they could go to that's not too far away. But yeah, so I'm not sure what communication they have going on with Tesla to get that information, but maybe they need to tweak it a little bit so it's a little bit more accurate. So I'm gonna see what my brother's thinking here as far as next charger. I think he said I'm gonna decide, because his car is a little bit more efficient than mine. I got 2.2, he got 3.1 or 3.2. So whole mile per kilowatt hour more. So let's go in the car and figure out our next stop. All right, everyone. So let's see what's going on here. Well, it wants me to leave now and go to Raffine, which is where we were gonna go. So I'm gonna get out, go check with him, see what he's thinking, and then we'll get on our way. All right, everybody, so I just chatted with him. We're gonna go to the Lexington, which is where we originally wanted to go. I'll get there with 16% state of charge, currently at 63% state of charge. I think we're gonna stop at Starbucks before we do that because I want a Starbucks coffee. All right, everybody, we are on our way. We stopped at Starbucks and things are looking good. It says an hour and 10 minutes. His mom will arrive at the Lexington Charger. We actually chose to go to the more northern one because it's closer to off the route, even though it's at, I think they're both at hotels, but it's not as good as the other one in Lexington, but no worries. So yeah, it says we'll get there with 70% state of charge. I have all the heat on to 72, very comfortable. It's 31 degrees outside, so a little bit chilly, but I think we're gonna be all right. So let's go ahead and keep going on towards Nashville, Tennessee. All right, everybody, here we are. That last leg was not 94.6 miles, 2 mile per kilowatt hour efficiency. We're not doing so great, but we're going, higher speeds. It's cold, so it is what it is. And that's from Starbucks, so that's why there's a little bit of differentiation there. 14% state of charge here in Lexington. My brother's already plugged in and charging, and I'm talking to you. I'm gonna get out of the car and charge up, and then we'll figure out where we're going next. All right, everyone, we made it here to, what is this, Lexington, Virginia. We're plugged in and charging here using the A to Z adapter. We were getting good speeds. We still are. We're getting 100, I don't know if you can see that, 115 kilowatts at 51%, so that seems about right. My brother's plugged in over here, getting something. What's he getting? He's getting, I can't see. How fast are you charging? 81 kilowatts at 60%, and I'm getting 115 at 52, so, but your battery's smaller, so it's all right. But yeah, it's a nice picturesque scene here at the True by Hilton. Always nice, always nice. But let's go inside and I'll tell you about our plan here. Beep, beep. So many beeps and dings. So we're going to go to Atkins as our next stop. It keeps wanting me to not do this. It doesn't like me. There we go. But there it is. Atkins. And right now it's saying that's where my battery will run out and I'll be out of luck. But that's fine because we're going to charge up to probably, this is -15, so that'd be 68, but we're going to go all the way to 80, I think, and then head out. So we'll be fine. We'll be able to make it here. Just with this cold weather, I've been noticing, not as accurate, and it's been dropping instead of going up, which is what I'm used to, but not a big deal. I'm not sure how long we've been charging so far, but I'll double check in the app. But yeah, that's the plan right now. And then after Atkins, my brother's very excited. Our next charging stop will be, where is it? Kodak. That's just before Knoxville. It's like right here. Yep, and we're going to a Buc-ee. Sorry about the bad camera work. Right here, Kodak, we're going there. There's a Buc-ee's. And then our next one is in Crossville, which is over here. Right there, where there is another Buc-ee's. And then we'll be in Nashville, and hopefully we'll get some tacos at White Duck Taco, but we shall see. All right, we're at 67%. We're starting to get the GM dip, 72 kilowatts. I think it's because the heat's on, so I would like to stay warm. It's 29 degrees outside, but the GM dip's not my favorite thing. So maybe I'll turn this off and see how long it takes for it to kind of recover its charging rate here. All right, so I've hit an all-time low, 50 kilowatts, 69%. It's like 150 amps, so definitely disappointing here. But I do need to charge up to 80% to get to our next spot. It's taking a little bit here to kind of recover, and it's cold outside. It's 29 degrees, so definitely a little bit disappointing here in the Equinox. So I've been charging here. The dip went all the way down to like 40, I think, around 40 kilowatts. Now we're back up to 65 here. Definitely a little bit annoying. I think it's because, so obviously it's cold outside with the heat on, and I was sitting in the car with the heat on, so that plays a big impact, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like, you can't just not have heat on when it's cold outside. So GM needs to figure this out. Absolutely. It's just not good enough. And it's funny because, like, in mild temperatures, you don't really have these issues. So it's when it's cold and they have the heat running. And then I am interested, now that I can see all the battery temp stuff, to see how it acts in the summertime, because obviously it's going to be warmer. But all right, well, we're at 76%. We're back up to 68 kilowatts. We'll be done here pretty soon. I would say, yeah, it says the car says ready in 5 minutes, so it'll be faster than 5 minutes. So yeah, once we get to 80, we're gonna head off to our next charge, which is in Atkins, Virginia. All right, we're at 80%, 77 kilowatts. I'm just gonna wait for the charge to complete here. Should be any second now. I just wanted to show this. Yeah, I do like this. This current range 257, not true. 226 miles gain, not true because of the cold, but it's fine. So now the map says we'll arrive with 8% to our next charge stop. Thanks for the text. And let's unplug and get on the way. So we're on the way now, on the road, and I wanted to recap because you probably saw me get like a little frustrated because the charging wasn't great. But then, like, I went back and looked at the charge time and it was 37 minutes. So I went like 14 or 13 to 80 and 37, which is actually pretty typical for what I get on a Tesla supercharger. And so if I added the 4% below, it maybe would have been an extra minute or two. So 40 minutes, 49 minutes. Oh, sorry, 40 minutes, 39 minutes. So was it a big deal? No, it wasn't a big deal. And sometimes I feel like I make it a big deal. Yeah, so it wasn't that bad. Is what I'm trying to say. So obviously, like, for me, like, I like things to work the way they're supposed to, and when I see this car and I see the things are going and I know it could be better and it's disappointing to me. But to general people who are going to buy this car, it's not like it wasn't that big of a difference. It was maybe a 1 or 2 minute difference. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you all and know that sometimes I have to be real with myself, but when I really love technology and I want things to work well, you know, the frustration comes out sometimes. So the sun is coming out, starting to get beautiful. It's still cold out, 28, so we got 28 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, it turned out to be a nice not vacation, road trip, there's the word. But I've been enjoying it. Definitely like having this opportunity to learn about how the car behaves in the cold, which is always interesting, and some people have been asking, so there it is. Now we're going to continue on our way down 81 to, what was it, Atkins, and then we're going to get to Sevierville, to the Buc-ee's, and then Crossville, which is the next Buc-ee's. I think I've already said that, but I was just on Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, whatever, and Plug Insights was on there, and he's also traveling 81 right now. So I don't think we're going to catch him at the first Buc-ee's, but he'll probably have to go to the next Buc-ee's, and we'll catch him at that Buc-ee's. So unless he stays for a long time to charge, then maybe we'll catch him. But that'd be fun to meet up with him. If not the end of the world. All right, let's get on our way. We are about 9 minutes away from our charger here in Atkins, Virginia. I'm currently at 14% state of charge. Says I'll arrive at 10% state of charge. Again, our efficiency is pretty dreadful at 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. But honestly, when you think about all the conditions, it's 26 degrees Fahrenheit. We're in the mountains, so it's colder outside. And then there is some wind. 7 miles an hour was how fast I saw last time I looked. And then you add, I'm doing a bunch of elevation. It's not terrible, I guess. It's no like 3 or 3.1, but with all these elements kind of compiling, I'm not shocked by this result. So it is what it is. And you know, when you're driving an electric car, the bottom line is, can you make it to the next charger to charge? And I can make it to the next charger to charge. Obviously, when it's warmer outside, you can probably skip maybe an extra charger here or there. But you we can get where we need to go, which is going to be fine. So I'm going to get there, show you all the stats, get plugged in, use the bathroom, and then we will kind of figure out our next stop. Although I think we're set, so we're going to go to Buc-ee's, and then we're going to go to Buc-ee's again, which I've talked about several times in the video. So excited to get some brisket. And as far as, gas station brisket is concerned, it's like top of the line gas station brisket. As far as brisket is concerned, it's like, it's all right brisket. But that's why you have to look through the gas station lens. That it's pretty good brisket for being a gas station. All right, so let's get back on the road here, which we're already on. I guess I should. That was kind of awkward. I'm gonna leave this in because I'm awkward, and then we'll get to Atkins Supercharger. All right, we made it. Let's do this quick. 141.8 miles for that trip. 2.2 mile per kilowatt hour efficiency, so not great. Arrived with 10% state of charge. 22 miles. We're gonna try to leave this off and then plug in and see what we get. All right, we're plugged in. We're ramping up. And 137, interesting. Okay, 38, maybe it wasn't quite warm enough, but that's fine. It's actually great because it maybe won't overheat. So gonna go ahead and use the restroom, and then I'll catch up with y'all. All right, everybody. Got back after using the restroom. We're plugged in. We're at 30% state of charge. It says we'll arrive with negative 39%. So we're gonna have to probably charge up to, 80%. We could do 70, but again, because it's cold, I'm not as willing to risk it. So I'm kind of cool with overcharging a little bit. Then we're going to a Buc-ee's, and then from that Buc-ee's, we're going to another Buc-ee's, and that's only like a 90-mile stretch. So we definitely won't have to charge as much there. So yeah, this will probably take about 36, 37 minutes, going 10 to 80. We'll see, because that's kind of what my tests have been showing lately. As long as it doesn't overheat, we should repeat that result. Here we're at 32 at 139. By 38, it'll hop down to 124. So hopefully it'll follow that typical curve. So it stepped down to 124 at 37%. So that's about what I would expect. So looking like a pretty normal charging session here for the Equinox EV on the Tesla Supercharger network. Okay, so what we're gonna do, change of plans. I'm gonna unplug now, and we're gonna go to a site that's closer than the next one, because it'll take an extra, where are we at, 15-20 minutes if I wait. We're still getting decent speeds, but we're about to have the GM dip in a second. I was just looking at the battery temp, so we're gonna unplug and just get on the way. All right, unplug. Oh, we're gonna pass my phone over to my other hand. There we go. Put this back in. And off we go, 58%, reset the trip and get on our way. We have made it here to Bristol. We're at 36% state of charge. Really quick little stretch there. A little bit better efficiency than we've been getting. This doesn't match up because I started this once I was on the highway, so that's why there's a little bit of a discrepancy. So that's fine. Gonna plug in and then kind of figure out the next step. We should only need to be here for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, just a splash and dash, so we can make it to Buc-ee's without spending an extra however much amount of time charging, just to save a little bit of time. All right. We are at 38% state of charge, getting 147 kilowatts, so that's great. It'll probably taper off soon. Negative 8% there, so only need to stay here for about 20%, so not too long. Gonna run inside and then we'll get going. Okay, we're at 54% state of charge. Still getting 104 kilowatts. Battery's not near as toasty as it could be. It says we'll arrive with 8%, so we could leave now. If it was warm outside, I would definitely leave now. But since it's cold, I've just been being a little bit more conservative. And you can always use the energy, do you know what I mean, if you have some extra. So we'll just wait for it to go up to 57%, and then we're gonna head on out. I did want to take a minute here to explain why we ended up doing this instead of just going straight to Buc-ee's. If we had waited there, it would have dipped, and then it would have taken a little bit longer. So come here. Honestly, we're getting about the same. We got 150 for a little bit, so it ended up working out and being okay. But yeah, I've been following the navigation. It's been wanting me to charge deep, but there are other chargers along the way. So I wish there is a way you can adjust things in here, but I wish I could adjust it a little bit more so it got me there at a state of charge I would desire, like, you know, a 10 to 20%. I think the lowest you can set is maybe 30%. I have to find it because it's a little hidden, but no. All right, well, it says I'll arrive at 10%, so we're gonna unplug and get going. All right, we've made it. 96.1 miles, 2.5 mile per kilowatt hour efficiency, so we're definitely doing a little better. And then arrive with 16% state of charge. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in and then do a charge state review, use the restroom, all sorts of things here at this Buc-ee's. All right, everybody, we are on the road from Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is way too hectic for me to do any talking at that site. So we had a great 36-minute charge, went from like 11 or 12% to 78%. So that's about right. It did have a huge GM dip. I saw on the app it went all the way down to like 40 kilowatts, but it worked its way back up. So it wasn't that big of a deal, and was still that kind of time frame that I would expect. So that's good. At least we're seeing some consistency there. Now we're on the way. My brother just wants to stop by the other Buc-ee's to see the Mercedes-Benz chargers because he's never seen them before. And then that's one thing we did while we were back there, and I did a charging state review, which I did not use my gimbal for because I didn't want to like walk back in and do, so I just took it with my hand, and it is what it is. But anyways, we saw what we suspect to be maybe the Mercedes-Benz charging network site at that Buc-ee's. There's just a bunch of digging right now, so it was hard to tell if that's really what it is, but it looked like it. It looked like there was some conduit and stuff like that just hadn't been put in the ground yet. Looks like some trenching had gone down, so seems pretty probable. But yeah, we'll keep track of that and see what happens. I wouldn't be shocked if by next year there's a Mercedes-Benz charger there, and they're using the Alpitronic hyperchargers now, so that'd be pretty sweet. So now we're on the way to like I said, the Crossville Buc-ee's, and then Nashville, maybe one stop before Nashville. Not sure if we're gonna charge at the Crossville one or not, but we'll see. All right, so we made it to Buc-ee's, 87.9 miles, 2.5 mile per kilowatt hour. There is from the charger because I keep forgetting to reset. Arrived with 40%, so we don't need to charge much, but we do need to charge, and this should be our last charging stop. I was going to charge later, but the route planner was saying charge here, so that's what I'll do. All right, everybody, we are charged up to 89%. We're going to White Duck Taco in Nashville, Tennessee, arriving at 40% state of charge. Let's get it. All right, everybody, we made it to Nashville, 694.8 miles, 2.4 mile per kilowatt hour for the full trip. That last leg, 2.9, 110 miles. Awesome trip. We arrived here at 45, so plenty. And guess what? Free charge point charging. Always welcome. All right, everyone, that is the end of leg one. I might cut in some footage of White Duck Taco because it's one of my favorite taco places, and it's in Asheville, but can't really get to Asheville right now. So there's one in Nashville, so I thought, well, it's just got to end in front of it, so it's got to be pretty close, right? That was a terrible joke. Anyways, so this is the end of part one. Part two is going to be me making my way back. What a great trip. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please give a like, a subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you all next time.